I just want to make a quick video. I binge watched Iron Man last night, 1, 2, and 3. I didn't have a problem with any of them. I really liked all of them. Actually, I think Iron Man's probably one of my favorite superheroes of that whole Marvel deal that they got going on now. Number 1 was good. It was like a classic origin story. I mean, they pretty much got right down to it right in the beginning with the cave. And I liked them showing who Tony was, his ingenuity, how he could build things, like what Jebediah said, well, he built this with scraps in a cave or whatever. No, I thought that was great. I also liked how they showed limitations for him in the first movie and every other movie. And I mean, the first one was good. It was classic. It was really good. I'm having a hard time saying like which are worse than the others. I mean, Jebediah being the bad guy, that was a good twist. I liked that a lot. And the romance with Pepper, you could definitely see that growing, and it was very natural and what's the word for it? Progressed organically. I didn't think that was bad at all. The second movie, I really liked that one. I really like the wrestler, the Russian guy, the Russian prison tattoos. That shit was dope. I liked his motivations. He was a great villain. You could definitely see like where he was coming from, why he was doing it. He didn't even have to talk a lot, which I think is good. I like when they do that. He was powerful, deadly, not to be messed with. People are always underestimating him. I like the progression of the suits too. Sorry, I will get lost thinking about the suits. I think there's 50 of them or something now. But the second one was probably, I think it was my favorite one out of all three. I mean, I liked how he was fighting other suits. I really like the concept of when the suits are used against Tony or they become his weakness in some way, shape, or form. People try to take them, people attack him for the suits. I think the second one, oh yeah, the second one was always, or was based on the. Generally, I would say his enemies were more like the state and people trying to take his suits and looking for an excuse to rid him of his power. And it's funny because he invented this thing, and of course the government wants to take it from you. And the only reason that he, had a public stance about it, or that he was even known, or the government didn't just come and kill him in the middle of fucking night, um, and steal his technology. The only reason that happened was because he was so powerful. And a private, what do they call it? A private, like world peace being held privately. That was a great concept. I wish the people themselves would do more. He was like a true American. So the government needs permission from him because he's a voter, he's a citizen, and I think that if more people would actually use their ingenuity, and I mean he was freed up from a lot of limitations when you think about money, debt, stuff like that. He was free to do what he wanted to do, invent what he wanted to invent. I think a lot of people would do that if it wasn't for their limitations. And then you get these idiots that win the lottery and stuff, and they don't know what to do with it. They just do coke and get hookers and like spend their money on nice cars and nice houses, and then they're broke within the next year. Stupid. I mean, you're gonna win the lottery. You gotta at least live within your means, live similar to the way you were before, and then you won't have to work again. But I really he was like kind of like a Batman. He doesn't have any superpowers, but he's super smart and he's got a lot of resources. So he knows how to make his own shit. Bringing us to the third movie, which I think was the one that was least well received. I'm not sure if it was the second one or the third one. People didn't like that much. I could see why it would be the third one because the Iron Man suit isn't used as much, but I could also see why it would be the second one. I'm not sure which one it is, but I've seen people make reviews about it or something. I saw some YouTube videos about it. But I actually liked the third one. I thought it was a great ending to his character arc. The fact that he didn't actually need the suit to be who he was, and like he said, he was cocooning and he turned into a better person. It all started with the first movie, him being a total dick and philanderer. Well, he wasn't a philanderer, but sort of a misogynist in a way. But I don't care. I don't give a shit about any of that stuff. Speaking of which, in the second movie, that we had Scarlet, no, not Scarlet Witch. It was a Black Widow and Pepper Potts, who are being like very powerful, very like decisive, very in control type of women. And I noticed they weren't pushing any negative female politic bullshit with that. Probably they had better portrayal of women, sexy and in charge. They know what they're doing, not going to get themselves into trouble, still behind their man. And then this whole Captain Marvel bullshit comes along, and they act like Pepper Potts and Black Widow never even existed, Scarlet Witch for that matter. I think it's so stupid. And also Scarlet Witch, no, fuck, I keep getting those two mixed up, but Black Widow and Iron Man 2 was, oh my god, she was smoking. Like, I hadn't seen it for a long time, but just her hair, the way she looked, obviously she was younger. I was just like, god damn. I'm so surprised she didn't get her own movie. But I mean, what, Happy took out like one guard and it took him like the whole time, and she had like six bodies lined up by the time he was done. And I'm so surprised they didn't give her a movie. And I know they want to push this feminist bullshit, but it's just not worth it. Well, it is for them because of their stuff. I'm not going to get into it, but I'll make a whole video about that later probably. But she was really, like a strong character, and I just don't see why. Oh, I do see why. No, I don't want to get into it. Anyway, the third movie, I liked how he was like it being experimental with his suit. Still, he was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna make them like come to me when I want." And I love how they showed the progression, and they always showed like exactly what details he was doing to make it different. And then the third one, they also had all the suits that he had been working on in his spare time. They all came, and I liked how he jumped around between them and used them as tools. And I love that compared to like just wearing the suit and using the suit. And I think the third one was the one that was not that well received, but I really liked it when the kid's like, "Oh, you're a mechanic, right? Why don't you just make something?" And he's like, "Oh, shit, I will." And he made all these like weapons that he went into the mansion and just, man, he was blowing people away. I don't even know what he was using. I'm sure they can't show us like how he made it and what he made, but I really like the ingenuity aspect of it, and I like the fact that he was still a strong character even without his suit. They didn't have to defang him, but if the suit isn't his power is his ingenuity and his resourcefulness. I mean, you could tell he probably had a credit card on him or some wad of cash, but still, even if you took all that away from him and he was homeless, you could probably build something. But I really liked it. Even though the suit was like dead most of the time, or it wasn't involved, I liked that he put the suit on other people. I liked how the suit was used against him to kidnap the president. I liked how he put the suit on Pepper when his house was falling apart. That was great, and I liked him falling into descent into darkness with his alcoholism and his personal fears and anxiety. The third one was the only one I couldn't. It was the only one that kind of brought me out of the movie a couple of times. Like if a person was watching it and they hadn't been keeping up with Marvel and they didn't see all the Avengers, like I know my parents haven't seen every single exact one because they're kind of hard to keep track of and almost hard to, if you're not paying attention, to know which ones come in order. And even when I was watching it, they were referencing the wormhole from New York and everything. I was like, shit. I even stopped the movie and I googled that shit and I was like, which Avengers movie was that again? I remember kind of like what happened, but I don't know how long it's been since I've seen it. So some of the things I was like, oh, what exactly are they talking about? Like I knew in general. It almost made me want to go watch that movie before I continued, but I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna watch the Iron Man movies. And then if I was gonna watch an Avengers movie, I'd be like, wait, when did they join, or what are they doing here? And I'd probably want to see the progression of it. And I'm not sure if Nick Fury was originally introduced in the Iron Man movies or not, but I like his portrayal in the Iron Man movies way more than the Captain Marvel movie. The Marvel movie, they literally neutered the guy with the cat, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's how he lost his eye. It was just some girl's cat." You fucking go over to a bitch's house and you bang her, and one of their cats like take your goddamn eye out. Oh, it's just pathetic. It's terrible. I'm not even sure. I keep wanting to reference this guy. He makes all these comic book videos. I think it's Comics Explained or something like that. Shit, if I get his name, I'll definitely put him down in the comment section or the information for this video. And he makes the best comic book movies, and I think it's Rob or something, and he always keeps the political bullshit out of it, which is good. But he has a vast knowledge of comics. You can tell he's probably been reading since he was like 5. And I mean, I wish he'd make a video about. I love the videos that he makes about Tony Stark. I wish he'd have a video about all the times the suit was used against him and stuff like that. I'm trailing. Where was I going with this? The comic book guy knows a lot. Damn it. Whatever. New York. Yeah, that's the only stuff that really kind of brought me out of the movie was. I mean, I'm glad that they showed character weakness. He was having panic attacks and stuff. Like Pepper was almost attacked by his suit. Like that is some scary shit. And I liked how dark it got. And it's so weird that they rated the movie mature because I don't know if it was the girls doing drugs, the half naked bitches. I'm not sure what it was, but Miss Chattanooga, wow, stuff like that. And I don't know if we're ever gonna have shit like that in Marvel movies ever again. They're gonna be like, oh, swimsuits, oh, that's sexist, that's against women, we can't do that, we can't make that. We can't have the girls in the swimsuit contest. And I was thinking, I don't remember if it was the first, with the Expo, was the first movie, and they had all those cheerleaders during Tony's Expo thing, and when he came down, he was wearing the suit, which is very cool to wear a suit underneath the armor. I like that. But I kept thinking about that stupid Super Bowl thing where they like have like trans people or gay people or something, and they're being cheerleaders now. And I was just thinking, like, imagine the Tony Stark Expo. Imagine the cheerleaders, but imagine like 30% of them behind him were like dudes. Like dudes in some thongs. They're like junk bouncing around. I was like, nobody would like that shit. That's just not normal. I know this whole intersectionality thing is supposed to be normal. It's supposed to be normal, but it's not. I think what are those people? What are the percentages? Let's Google them. It's like, what percentage could they possibly be of the American population? Just a bunch of, I don't know. I can't even deal with it. I don't know. I do not like that Disney is shoving that shit into their movies. But yeah, binge watching the Iron Man was fucking amazing. And even the third movie, I liked it. I liked that they didn't show a suit. I liked the end of it. But I did hear that the Mandarin in the comic books is supposed to be some sort of like Shaolin fucking master. He had like a martial arts style where he would like use his I don't know, I think he had rings that gave him power, and that's where the 10 rings comes from. And then he could tear off Iron Man's suit with his hands, kind of like if he was some martial arts master, he would tearing bark off a tree. And I did see that in the movie with the guy when he was red hot and he was taking out chunks of his suit and punching through it and stuff. And Tony kept dodging all those attacks. But I'm not sure if they didn't go that direction because it was like technically magic, or they didn't think that was strong enough and they wanted to have more of a science background to it. But they could have, especially with what they did with Doctor Strange. They could have had that. But I know this is before Doctor Strange, and maybe that would be harder to lead up into it. But I still think they could have gone the original route, but I have to tell you, the first movie that I wasn't really, irked by the bad guys, Jebediah or whatever. That he had me like that a little bit, a couple times, especially when he was with Pepper and he was like, you knew he was the bad guy at that point. It was like threatening, but I didn't start feeling that until like the second movie. That's when I started getting irked by the government, trying to take his shit, make laws and stuff like that. Speaking of which, when they do the Civil War Captain America thing, like, oh, Captain America, Steven Rogers, you're such a bitch. You're like, oh no, we should register ourselves. Since the government made me, I guess they can register me as a weapon and take my rights away. He's such a goody two shoes. And also, I mean, what the hell is that guy's name? Is it Chris Evans in real life? I don't know. But I know the actor is starting to open his goddamn mouth, starting to bitch about intersectionality and equality and feminism and stuff like shut the fuck up, man. Every job I've ever had, if I was working a cashier thing, if I was working at Dairy Queen or some shit as a construction worker, you think they let me like run around and preach my goddamn politics? No, they fucking don't. Not a single job I've ever had. And then these actors think that oh I'm famous, I can piss people off and I can tell them how to live. Like, heck, fuck no. Do your goddamn job and shut the fuck up, man. I think if I was at the bar and my, waitress or whoever came up to me and they were like, you should, that's wrong, man. It started, I would fucking lose it. But these actors, they think they're untouchable, They just receive a little bit of criticism on Twitter or something and they shut the people down. They delete the YouTube videos. They change the Rotten Tomato scores. They think they can do whatever the fuck they want. There's clearly an agenda. No one can question that. But the thing you have to think about it is, who is pushing that? Who does it really benefit? Actually, who does it hurt? And it hurts Western society. Honestly, I mean, maybe I'll catch a bunch of slack for it or something, but it hurts white people. It really fucking does. You want to take away our values, our morals? You want to destroy our family structure? I wonder who would do that. So, yeah, I don't like it when actors do that shit. And even Scarlett Johansson, I think she's a huge proprietor of, like, feminism. I know she's been outspoken about it before. I heard quite a few people talk about it. But you know what? She's a good actress. She doesn't rub that shit in my face. She doesn't try to bother me. Like Brie Larson. Brie Larson, I was telling my parents at dinner the other day that like about Brie Larson and Black Widow and how Brie Larson gets her own movie. She's about to be the face of the MCU. Didn't do anything to deserve it. It's a shitty movie with a shitty character arc. Actually, no, take that back. There is no character arc. She's just amazing all the time. Nothing can hold her down. Nothing can hold her back. She has no issues. And I think that Rob guy, or whoever the comic book guy is, I think he said that her Captain Marvel's weakness was her insecurity. Like she has to be able to believe in herself to use her powers or something like that. And they would diminish if she was feeling self-doubt or something like that, which totally sounds like Brie Larson. She's got some sort of body image problem or something, or she got fucking raped by some dude because she is having trouble dealing with whatever issues that are internal that she has. But yeah, I'm starting to trail. I'm starting to get off into weird spaces. Probably gonna get a bunch of hate comments, but I don't give a fuck. It's my goddamn opinion. This is America. We're allowed to have them. There's no such thing as hate speech. It's free speech. You can say whatever the fuck you want. Free country. I mean, free to a certain extent. Remember back in the old day, like Wild West, you just roll up on some land and be like, I want this. This is about to be mine. I think that was when America was truly free. It's probably the freest it ever got. Sure, you can do that, but there's a bunch of people with guns and they might stop you. Oh, sure, you can do that too, but the sheriff was going to hear about it and eventually he'll hunt you down. Alright, I guess I'll take off. I can't think of anything more to say. I mean, I'm not as fresh about it. I watched them last night, but they were good. I liked them. And it had me wonder and had me asking questions about Iron Man. I still want to learn more. And I know in the newer, what was that? Infinity War, he's got a nanotech suit, which is interesting because when you start to think about it, I mean, I'm sure the nanotechnology that the government has is a lot more advanced than they say it is or that people know about. But if you think about his suit, it's going to fire a missile. Do the nanotech, does it change into a missile? Certain parts change into explosives. Certain parts change into thrust abilities. I mean, I love it. I love the suit. It's way better than the other ones, but it's also interesting to think about. I know that the energy generated by his arc device is what creates the energy for propellant and stuff, so he doesn't really need a fuel source to stick inside the nanobots. But I thought it was interesting. It kind of reminded me of the liquid metal Terminator when parts of him would fall off and he would reabsorb them. It was very dope. Pretty much, what was he? The only person to really fuck with Thanos besides Thor. I thought that was really interesting. I mean, Tony Stark, you got him as a regular guy. He's on par with the fucking gods and shit. But also, his brother was supposed to be like genetically engineered by what were the Immortals or something like that. But everybody thought it was Tony, but it's not him. He's like natural human. I don't know. That confuses me. I can't really remember which is which. But anyway, loved it. I would like it if they just stuck with their characters and made good original content. You know, maybe if you just stick to comic book stories instead of trying to get all pandering with it, we'd like it more. You probably, dude, I would be buying shit for my son. You'd be selling way more toys. Your money would just be skyrocketing. But instead, you take these golden egg, golden goose platforms and you just destroy them. I don't know why you would ever do that, but everybody's talking about that. It's a whole different conversation. So I'm gonna let you guys go.